one after the other. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 30 of the Showerpodcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and doing these kind of episodes and trying to get better at, let's say, doing simple tasks every day and not leaving them behind to accumulate led me to a bit of an analogy, let's say, and a strategy that I am trying currently. I mean, it's been a few days now, but I've come up, let's say, with this theory of setting up your life in sets. And the analogy is with the gym and with the exercises. So if right now I would be there, I would ask you to, let's say, get up like, I don't know, let me invent a number, but I don't know, 1,000 kilos. Or again, a weight that it's absolutely impossible for a human being to lift up altogether. You'd be like, what? You're crazy. It doesn't make sense. How would I do that? It turns out that during a normal workout, and you know, if you are an experienced lifter, you end up, let's say, lifting way more than 1,000 kilos, like way more. How do you do that? You do it through sets. You just split up that 1,000 kilos into 10 sets, and you do 100, 100, 100, 100, and bit by bit, you end up, as you know, your body, you will be able to say that you have lifted 1,000 kilos. Were they all together? Of course not. But you still were able to achieve something that by itself was absolutely impossible. Whereas if you, divided that work properly, becomes feasible. It's the same thing with this episode. The fact that I'm doing it every day it's giving me the chance to build up habits that otherwise, if I didn't have this kind of commitment and this kind of plan, I would just not be able. If I wanted to record in a single day 365 episodes and just plan it throughout the whole year, it would be absolutely impossible. Whereas if scheduling them on a daily basis, or I don't know, 2 per day, if I know that I won't be able to record it the day after for any kind of reason, I can do that. That is manageable. Why? Because I have already, let's say with all the episodes in the past, I've recorded them properly. And this kind of behavior also led me to, for example, being able to apply it to so many things. The most immediate one that it's, I've never thought of it like this, but it absolutely makes sense, is, I don't know if you heard of the Pomodoro technique for studying. If you've ever, I imagine that most of the people that are listening to this know about it, but in case you didn't know, the strategy is very simple. Let's say that you want to study 2 hours, and instead of saying, okay, I will put everything away and 2 hours I won't study at all, you split, and that of course it's absolutely impossible because down the line your focus would absolutely it will plunge and it will be absolutely infeasible to continue studying at the rate that you wanted to. So what you do is that you split this hour, 2 hours, or whatever time you have into these Pomodoro sessions of 25 minutes of studying with 5-minute break. And during the break you can do anything. You can look at your phone, you can do whatever, really. It's a break, so you don't have to think about what you were doing. It's something on its own. And then you do 25 minutes again. And the third time, you take a longer break, okay? And you repeat this for how much time you are trying to, of course, get out of the day. Personally, for me, and you'll maybe start to understand why, it hasn't worked that well because I did not have the training necessary to stick to this kind of program. I felt much more comfortable, even though it comes from a place of toxicity, let's say, because what happened with most of my studying sessions is that I would have cramped everything at the last moment, and I would absolutely go fully vertical on the things that I needed to do, pressured by the fact that now I had a specific time limit that if I didn't stick to that deadline, well, I would have failed. And given that I don't like that much failure, my necessity and my activity started going at the max. But is that sustainable? Absolutely not. It would be, again, the same kind of, because that's also the crazy thing, If coming back to the example that I gave you before, if I ask you to lift 1,000 kilos, you'll say no. But when somebody asks you, will you be able to prepare an exam or a test or get ready for something in 1 day, 1 week? The example is the same. And the thing is that it's not possible. But what we are able to do with this kind of tasks is kind of cheat our way into it. Because we are able to target, let's say, the activity very vertically. We are able to focus only on giving it the bare minimum to be able to pass it. But at the end of the day, we are absolutely removing any kind of benefit that comes from, let's say, achieving and doing that test. Of course, you will have the mark that you have passed and you don't have to think about it, sure. But unfortunately, that was not really the purpose. And the more I have been out, let's say, of university, and the more I start to realize and actually value that kind of period where my only duty, let's say, was of studying, and I had really all the time in the world to dedicate myself to a subject. Whereas right now, most of the times you have to find in the minimum time possible, the best solutions that fixes what you have to do, or let's say solve the problem that you are dealt with. You don't have the luxury of saying, let me find the proper solution, let me look up different sources. Like sometimes, we have to do it by this date, find something to solve it, and then we go forward. And also in that aspect, you being able to set up your work, and this is why, let's say, work environments are definitely way better than, let's say, studying and universities, is that it is impossible for you to absolutely cram everything at the end of, let's say, a specific task, project, or whatever, because you have to give constant feedback, you have to report back on what you do, you have to, let's say, elaborate the things that are right, the things that are wrong. You have to, let's say, abide by a more strict schedule. And the moment that you have to do that, then your performance, let's say, increases. Because again, you are planning ahead and you are doing things the right way. And at the end of the day, the main idea of today's episode is that try to look around you. I always say look around you, but let's say of the things that are in your life, what are the activities that could be split up as working sets? Even washing the dishes. Why don't you do like every 30 minutes, you just wash a bunch of them, or you categorize them. Okay, now I'm gonna wash all, let's say, the glasses, and then you'll do the pantry, and so on and so forth. Or do I have to clean the house? Okay, let me do first even the sink, and then I'll do something else. And by splitting it up, what happens is that, of course, this is the, let's say, classic theory of, let's say, scheduling. But if you focus on the simplest task first, you'll then, first of all, it will be harder to stop because you've already gone through it. So it's like, I might as well finish it. And at the same time, even if you have to stop, you first of all have achieved something. So when you come back to it, you'll have less work to do. And overall, you'll feel much more motivated to just, let's say, cross stuff off the list and just go for the simple tasks, whereas of not knowing where to go and not knowing what to do. So follow that. Especially if you go to the gym, you'll know what it means. And try to apply that simple strategy also to your everyday life and see if that works. I am trying myself. Slowly, I'll report back on it, but I do believe that there is value, let's say, in this kind of practice. Having said that, this was episode 30 of the Shower Podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and see you at the next one.